welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a will I buy it video. I haven't done one of these in over a year and there's a lot of new releases, but I want to focus on one palette that just got leaked, I guess is the right word. It was one that came up on Trend Mood's Instagram page, and it is the Blue Blood from Jeffree Star. If you guys have been here for quite a while, you kind of know how I feel about him, but I do have some new views on the whole situation with him and his company and things like that. So with that being said, if you want to know if I'm going to buy this palette, just keep on watching. We all know that, if you don't know, then I'm going to tell you, but I have tried the Beauty Killer palette. I had it, I actually bought it myself. This is way before I've learned about the situation with Jeffree Star and his past and things like that. I didn't know him on his MySpace days. I wasn't in the know back then, but I did learn watching different videos about his past and things like that. Also, most recently, my roommate and I sat down and watched the documentary with Shane Dawson, and I feel like there is some truth to both sides. There's probably some truth to the allegations of, you know, all of the bad behavior from his past. Obviously, a lot of it has been documented because he was on MySpace, he was filming himself and things like that, but also at the same time, there is some truth to some of the things or the reasons why he was doing what he was doing. A lot of the time, the truth is in the middle. So I'm going to kind of leave that aside. I'm just going to really focus more on the palette and the reasons why or why not I am going to purchase it. And let's just go ahead and talk about the color scheme. So the palette that I'm talking about is this one right here. Hopefully you can see that on my phone. I'm going to put a bigger picture of it right here so that you can see it. I do really like the concept of this palette. I think it's really interesting, and there's not a whole lot of palettes out there that are more focused on blue themes. I think that there's a lot of pops of color. There's a lot of palettes out there that do have nice incorporations of blue, but this one I feel like really does accentuate different levels of blue, more blue greens, teals, dark blues or rich blues, glittery blues, more of the matte shade blues. If you have not already tried one of his palettes or tried any of his products, the actual matte shades are some of my favorite shades because of the fact that the formulation of these are so pigmented, they're so rich, they're so bold. They really give you a bright color that can be built up, or if you take a lighter hand, you can go in and do a really nice dusting with these matte shades. They are a little bit dusty in the pan, so when you go in with your brush, if you're going heavy-handed, they do tend to kick up just a little bit. So if that bothers you, this is probably not the palette for you, but a lot of palettes that have extreme pigment tend to kick up. That's just the way it is. That's unfortunately the way that they are made and the way that they are pressed, but they blend really nicely. They have a crazy amount of pigment and they stay on all day. They've got great lasting power. The glitters are insane. They have amazing pigment. They are beautiful. They stay on. They really don't need a glitter glue. You can put them on with a synthetic brush, or you can put them on with your fingers. They're really good. Like, the formulation of this palette is going to be like all of his other ones. They're beautiful. They just work. They just work really, really well, and they just blend gorgeous. So if you're taking that into account and you want something that's going to be really, really nice when it comes to formulations other than like Natasha Denona or maybe Kat Von D, all three of them have really great formulations. This color scheme for me personally, I don't really wear blues. I do have a lot of them in my collection, single shadows and other palettes that have pops of color of blue. Juvia's Place, I've got a couple of their palettes that have the crazy blues inside. I love those palettes just because they have great formulation as well, but I don't wear blue all that often. This particular palette does have blues, green blues, light blues, dark, rich cobalt blues. They've got transition shades, really beautiful matte shades that are more in the pink tone and peach and more of the neutral brown, like light brown tones. I do like that there are the lighter inner corner highlight. There is the under brow highlight. I also like that there is a more neutral tone that is glitter as well. It's more of like a brownie And it's not even brown, it's more of like a taupe, light taupe color, or even like a skin tone bone color from what I can see here. Let's see here. Yeah, it's more of like a skin tone. It's called Crystal Flesh, so it does look more like a flesh tone. It's really beautiful. I love the concept of it, and I think the idea of it has been extremely well thought out. The pressed shadows that have all of the symbols in it is really clever, and I think the symbol, let's see here, they've got a crown, they've got a money bag, they've got a diamond, they've got lips and a little coffin, which is really interesting. They also have the Jeffree Star label, and then they have a little cloud with a lightning bolt. I think it's really clever, it's really cute. I think that you can make a lot of different looks with this palette. A lot of crazy blue eye looks. You could make some neutral looks with this as well. Very easily make neutral looks. For me personally, I probably would not purchase this just because of the fact that it does retail for $52, which is very expensive. I do have shades in my collection and pops of blue in my collection that I already don't use, and the fact that I just gear towards more neutral. If you're looking for something that is going to give you a ton of color, great pigmentation, and is going to be more in the blue realm, then this is definitely the palette for you. For me personally, I probably will not buy it. I do have a couple of options for you if you are looking to buy this palette but don't want to spend the money. I do have a few other options for you as well, which is if you're looking for just the matte shades, I have right here with me is the Holy Smokes palette from e.l.f. This palette is really nice because it does still coordinate to the blues, and then it's got the transition tones, the under eye highlights, and the more gray tones that are in the Jeffree Star palette. If you're looking for something with the glitters, I do have the 80s Vibe palette from e.l.f. as well, and both of these retail for $10. This has the pink tone shimmery color. It's definitely got the blue pops and then the grays as well. So I mean, you're spending for two of them, you could spend $20, or you can spend the money on the Jeffree Star palette. Either way you decide to go, that is definitely your decision, depending on how you feel, how big your collection is, what else you have in your collection. I just like to give you a reference point of other palettes that do have more blue-centric palettes that are out there that do have the same thing, and you probably can make the same looks. Obviously this isn't a dupes video, this is a will I buy it video, but in this particular case, with this particular palette, not going into all of the politics that go into it, but just the palette itself. Because I don't use blues all that often, I probably would not purchase this just because I do have these guys in my collection as well. But let me know if you're gonna buy it. I wanna know why you're gonna buy it, what inspires you the most by this palette, and go ahead and just leave it in the comments below. I will read all of them, so I would love to see what you guys have to say because everybody's different. We all look for different things in different palettes, and I'd love to find out why you guys are so inspired by this one. So please go ahead and leave a comment below. If you have not already, please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications of upcoming videos. I love you guys so much. Have a wonderful afternoon, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.